Dear Journal, Jade and I began to explore this place that was not quite home. Foreign, yet familiar. We decided that we had to find a way out, and fast, before we were stuck in this place forever. The date on the newspaper that was left at my mother's door indicated it had been 6 months since my accident, but it only felt like a day at most. Walking through town felt strange, but I was happy to have Jade by my side. We were both surprised at how comfortable we had become with one another in such a short amount of time. It usually took me a while to warm up to people, and conversation flowed between us as we both tried to recap the events that led up to our individual accidents. Well, as much as we could remember anyway. That's when Jade recommended that we go inside of the county hospital, not too far from our neighborhood. It was a trauma hospital. It also happened to be the hospital where Jade was set to start her residency on the Monday following her accident. As soon as we stepped inside, there was a chill that went through both of us simultaneously, as if this was where we were supposed to be. It was strange how we both felt a connection to this place. The hospital was deserted, and there wasn't a soul in sight. As we walked the halls of the hospital, it was eerily quiet and reeked of what could only be described as sickness and death. All the rooms were empty, and the nurses' stations had been abandoned. We started to search all the rooms on the ICU floor, not sure what we were searching for. It just felt right. Like we were getting close to the very thing we needed to find, but not even sure what we were looking for. Then, as if on cue, we both arrived at the last door on the ICU floor. As I grabbed the doorknob, Jade and I looked at each other. We both knew whatever was behind this particular door was going to change everything. It did. As we walked inside the room, it began to change before our eyes. The room shape-shifted and came to life. The beeping machines were the first sound we had heard since walking through the front doors of the hospital. It was a large double room with 2 beds and a patient in each bed hooked up to various medical machines. As we began to walk closer to them, I wondered why out of everyone these 2 people were left behind. Then, we both stopped dead in our tracks and looked at each other once again. No, it couldn't be. There we were, face to face with ourselves. Our bodies laid there motionless in a sterile hospital. Unbeknownst to us, our souls had become entangled in a mysterious realm between life and death. We were helpless watching those machines breathe for us. Jade read the charts that were hanging on our beds. The diagnosis stated that we both suffered from severe head trauma and were put into medically induced comas. She explained how this type of treatment was used to protect the brain from swelling after an injury to allow the body to heal. We were so confused. Were we going to be stuck here in this place until our real bodies healed itself? That's when we encountered our first visitor, Gabriel. Gabriel surprised us as he appeared out of nowhere inside the hospital room. Jade and I both stood at attention, wanting to know who he was and what he wanted. It was obvious that he had a surreal glow about him, and when he spoke, his voice boomed through the hospital walls and shook the windows. To say the least, his very presence demanded our attention. Jade and I must have had the same thought run through our minds, and she stood between Gabriel and our coma-induced body. She yelled as tears ran down her cheeks, "No, don't take our bodies, we're still here." Gabriel laughed and said he was not there to take our bodies, and told Jade that he was much better looking than the angel of death. Gabriel explained that he was more of a guide to help us find our way back to ourselves. He explained that we were set apart, destined to be here, together, to fight and conquer. Fight and conquer? What? Was our only reply. But Gabriel didn't answer. Instead, he told us that we were not the only ones here, like we previously thought we were. Before I could inquire more, he handed me a small red envelope. Then he turned to leave, only looking back once to tell us to use our connection, trust one another, and rely on our bond. Then he disappeared into thin air. Jade and I stood there confused and a bit disoriented. We opened the small red envelope Gabriel had given me, and it read, "Face your greatest fears in order to defeat your insecurities." It was vague and low-key cryptic. We agreed that it didn't give us much to go on, but Gabriel did help us realize that our connection in this place was not a mere coincidence. Unbeknownst to us, both our accidents had been somehow orchestrated by a malicious force, seeking to feed off of our fears and insecurities and keep us trapped in limbo forever, or until our families were forced to pull the plug. Jade and I came to the conclusion that our only chance of escaping was to confront this mysterious entity that wanted to feed off of our insecurities and help each other find a way back to our physical bodies. Always, Noah.